Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I hope you're all well today. I've got a really cute project that I'm going to share with you. This is something to get ready for Christmas ahead of time so that you can have fun making all the different things that you'd like to give to people. So today I'm going to be using the water-based inks in a watercolor technique, and the colors that I have out are Pebbled Path and Lost Lagoon. And then I've got a lot of other supplies here that I'm going to go over in just a minute. But first I want to show you what we're going to be painting. So I have the Joy of Noel stamp set, and it has this beautiful little swag of holly berries and some balsam and some other leaves on it. That's what the image is going to look like, and I'm going to use it as a tag on one of those little gift bags, but it will also be removable so that whoever you're giving this little treat bag to is also going to have an ornament that they can hang. And so there's a lot of other things here in the basket. I've got the In Color jute trim. I also have out the metallic enamel effects, and we're just going to be using the silver one of those. I've got some other things that I'll show you in just a minute, but for the basis of the treat bag, I'm using the die set called Tricks and Treats dies, and you can see this big die here is the one that makes the treat bag. And if you want to get the bundle, you can get all of these stamps, which also correspond to dies in the set. And I'm going to be using, I'm going to be doing Halloween tomorrow on Paper Crafting Thursday at 2 o'clock. So if you'd like to tune into that, please do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to stamp my design. So somewhere in here, I think I have some papers. There they are, hidden underneath everything. And I also have the die that I'm going to be using to cut things out with. And in here I have a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, and this of course is perfect for any kind of watercolor technique, but it's also nice and stiff, so it's going to help give that ornament a little more heft, so that it will hold up and it won't just be a one-time only. It'll be something that could come out each and every year. So let me just check my settings, make sure this is working okay. And that looks good. Alright, so we'll get started. I'm using the Pebbled Path stamp pad. I love this color. It looks like pewter. And it's just a kind of the perfect warm sort of grayish beige, and makes for a very nice pewtery looking design. So let's just get this centered on there. So there's my design. And the next thing I want to do is I want to get out my water painters. So I'm just going to grab the middle one. And I'm going to also use my re-inker. So this is the Pebbled Path re-inker. This is the same ink that you would use to replenish your stamp pad when it started to get a little bit dry. And all I'm going to do is slide open the case so I can get to the inside lid. And I'm just going to add a couple of drops in there, just like so, and that's plenty. So that's about 3 or 4 drops, and that's going to last me for quite a while. So I'm going to zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. And actually, before we begin, I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm using the Lost Lagoon, which is this beautiful kind of a silvery green. I'm going to open up that case, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple of drops to that as well. Alright, that's plenty. Okay, so just to make it a little bit easier, off to the side I have a cup of water, and I'm going to also get a paper towel and have this handy. So there we go. And I'm going to add plenty of water. Let me reverse these. I'm going to add plenty of water so I get a nice dilute solution, and I'm just going to begin to paint in my design. So I'll get the berries, the holly leaves, and a little bit of the ink from the stamped image is going to flow into where I'm adding moisture, and that's fine. So there's just a very light wash. Now I can go over to my Lost Lagoon. Let me zoom you out a tiny bit so you can see that. So here's the Lost Lagoon. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that green color to the to some of the leaves, not all of them. I just want a slight variation. I want to keep the tonality to be mostly the pebbled path, but I just want to introduce a little bit of a second color to give it a little more life. I can do the same thing on my holly. Now in the tag class that's coming right up, I'm going to go into a lot more detail, but this is just a quick video to show you what I have coming right up. Now I'm also going to do a little background painting, just a little bit, and just let that sort of fade away. If you're interested in learning more about the, did I say gift tag? I meant to say treat, treat bag. These are treat bags, but they do have a tag attached, and there'll be a lot more information about the class, all the different things that you get in the card kit, as well as the dates and how to register in notes from Dandelion Cottage Design. And you can sign up for notes on my website at Dandelion Cottage Design, or if you wait till the end of the video today, I'll also have a link there. And once you sign up to get notes, you will be notified of all of the upcoming classes and events that I have. Alright, so there is my first wash. I'm just softening those edges. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to start adding some darker colors. So for that, I'm going to go back into the pebbled path. I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. Just like so. Same thing with the Lost Lagoon. And the paper's getting nice and damp now, so that these colors are all moving together nicely. You can see them starting to have softer edges, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm leaving some of the white of the paper showing to add a little sparkle, but we're also going to add a little bit of bling to this too. So just going to get this finished up, and then finally I'm going to go in now with my darkest darks, and I'm just going to put those right in these shadowy areas behind the leaves. Okay, so I'm going to close up these stamp pads. I'm going to put this aside to dry for just a few minutes. And while that's drying, I also have these little pine boughs that I used with the die set from the Joy of Noel. Oh, wrong one. Joy of Noel. So this one. And I'm going to add a little wink of Stella to these. So the wink, hey Sandra, thanks for tuning in. So the wink of Stella is a kind of a sparkle marker. And I'm just going to go ahead and brush the entire surface. And hopefully the camera will pick this up when I show it to you in just a second. There, you can see a little bit of that sparkle there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on both of these, but what I'm going to do is I'm just squeezing down a little extra, make sure I've got plenty in there. I'm going to do this a couple of times because I want these to be really sparkly. So I'm going to go ahead and give it the first coat, making sure I get to the tips. Okay, and then I'm going to squeeze down a little extra. I think this pen's running out a little bit. I'm going to do it again a second time, and this way it's going to be extra sparkly, and I'll show you that in just a second. All of the things that I'll be using today I will have in a list, so if you'd like to follow along, if you'd like to get any of these things, there will be a link with a complete supply list. Okay, now we've got something. You can see all that sparkle on there. It almost looks metallic when you use the Wink of Stella on the pebbled path. I really like the way that looks. All right, we're going to put these aside to dry now. That actually dries very quickly. Now, here's my little treat bag. Okay, so I've already used the die to cut this out. I've also added some holes which come with the die set as well, and I've added a piece of the double stick tear and tape on this little flap, and I'm just going to peel that off, and I'm going to line these up. And excuse me if I get my head in the camera, but I just want to make sure that these are lined up just right. There we go. Okay, so we've got a nice even edge along here. I'm going to grab my burnisher, give that a good press. Flip it over and remove the backing on the other side. And just fold that over. Again, a good burnish. Okay, and then I can get the other corners. So now I've got something that looks like this. And fold in the bottom, the little tabs on the bottom. Fold in the other two flaps. Now, I think what I'm going to do this time is I'm also going to put some of that tear and tape on here so that it dries fast. So all you do, grab a little piece, put that right on the edge like so. If you have any excess, you can just snip that off. See if I can get my fingernail under there to grab that. There it comes. Come on, you. Let me get my... There we go. Sometimes the piercing tool will help you to lift up that edge if you don't have fingernails. I'm just going to pop that on there. Give that a little press. And there's my bag, ready to go. Now I'm going to put a little pleat, a little gusset in this bag. So I'm just going to pinch that about an inch down, not all the way. So it just gives me that little extra closure on there. And I have this beautiful ribbon. This is called the silver and white ribbon, and I love this because it's so sheer, okay, and I can just poke that through. I'm just going to go straight through both sides, and then I'm going to bring this to the inside. I'm going to see how much I want for my handles. I trim that there. Poke that through. And now I just want to make sure I don't have this twisted on itself. I want to make sure that my handles are all going to hang flat. Tie a little knot. I'm going to go ahead and trim those tails. Tuck that in. And there's this adorable little treat bag, which you could fit quite a lot of things in. I mean, I have these reinkers in front of me. You could fit 3 reinkers in there if you put them in straight instead of crooked like I have them. Here they are. So you can see it's quite generous. It's about the size of a deck of standard playing cards. And then what I'm going to do is get back to my tag here. Now for this, get all my things organized so I don't lose anything. Clear the surface. Okay, I'm going to get out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Zoom you out so you can see what I'm doing. So here's the corresponding die to this design. And I'm going to line that up. Pass that through. Show you what we have here. So there it is. Now we get to have a little bit of fun with this. Let me just, oops, sorry. Hold on, let me get my zoom under control here. Incrementally. There we go. All right, so here's my piece. It's still a little bit damp, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get that Wink of Stella out again. And I better get my scrap piece of paper here. And I'm just going to run that over the entire thing. Get on camera here so you can see. See that shine? Just giving it a second coat. All right. Now, I want this to be nice and sturdy. So I've cut out a piece of the Pebbled Path cardstock, and I'm going to mount those together. For this, I'm using the liquid glue. I'm just going to put a thin layer of glue. I just want to make sure I get all these little berries that are off to the edges so that they don't separate in the points of the holly. That's plenty. Line those up. Oh, before I do that, okay, here's a tip. The Fluid 100 paper, as I mentioned earlier, is pretty thick, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and punch a hole just like that, okay, before I put this down on here. And just want to make sure I get some glue on that point so that holds together. Now I'm just doing the 2 layers. If you wanted to have it extra sturdy, you could do another layer of the Pebbled Path. You could even put a lighter color if you want to write a message on the back, but I'm going to stop at 2. And now I'm just going to use that hole to guide my second punch for the cardstock. I think that if you were to try to punch 2 of them through at the same time, I think that you would find it would be pretty difficult to do. I'm just going to go ahead, get those lined up. That looks good. All right, now you know I like to sponge my edges, so let me see if I can find a sponge that will match. I'm going to use the Pebbled Path for this, and I'm just using a little sponge. You could use a sponge dauber, and I'm just going around the edges, and I'm just knocking back that light area a little bit. Doesn't have to be every single place, but just enough to give it more of a finished look. And of course that ink is going to match the cardstock on the back perfectly. And now I'm going to get my metallic enamel effects. Okay, so these come 3 to a package. You have gold, copper, and silver. I'm going to grab the silver, and I'm going to use this on each of these berries. So I'm just going to hold it upright and then lift it off. So I have a beautiful shiny silver berry. Now this takes a little while to dry, so you want to put this someplace where it's not going to get brushed, or if you have a kitten in your studio, you don't want the kitten walking across it. I'm going to add another berry over here so it's a little more even. Maybe one in there. Okay, so there is my metallic enamel effects. Just going to move this over a little bit, and then for my, I also have these pine boughs, but I'm not going to put that on there just yet, because if I were to do that I would mess up my berries, and I don't want to mess up my berries. So I have a couple of these, and I can also add, I'm going to punch a little hole in these as well. I'm going to grab my smaller hole punch for these. I'm just going to go ahead, get those ready, even though I'm not going to put them on just yet. They'll be ready to go as soon as this is dry. And I've got this is the Pebble Path jute trim, and I'm going to very carefully tuck that through there. If I wasn't videoing, I would wait, but I'm going to live dangerously here and just try to do this on camera so that you can see what it looks like. Nope, see, I got it in the berry, of course. Okay, I'll fix that. There we go. Okay, I can fix that berry afterwards. So anyway, so there is my tag, and then I would take my treat bag, add my tag to the handle, and my beautiful little pine boughs. I'll just set these to the side so that you can get an idea. And there is a beautiful little treat bag that you can bring to somebody's house over the holidays, or use as a stocking stuffer, or you could hang the whole thing on the tree and load it up with all sorts of gifts. It could fit jewelry, chocolates, candy, re-inkers, anything you'd like. So I hope that gives you some ideas. Remember, if you'd like to see the entire information about the upcoming treat bag class, to subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, and I will send you all the information. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.